Hi everyone, you can call me Bella. Today I'm going to talk about my heated rivalry psychosis. So I should start at the beginning. So obviously at this point everyone knows about heated rivalry, and even as a lesbian I know heated rivalry, okay? I've seen the show a lot, so I know. And my heated rivalry psychosis actually started back in November. Back in November. In November, I was on Twitter scrolling through my 911 news, and I was looking through that, and I got a little notification that was like things you might also like. A little picture of heated rivalry. And it was like, it was someone being like, I can't wait for this to come out. And it was a picture of Shane and Ilya when they're on the rooftop in episode 1, and they were like almost kissing, and Ilya is holding Shane's face. It was that one. Okay, and I saw that, they're like, I can't wait, and I go, this looks like a pretty cool show. But and then I looked it up, and it was on HBO Max, and I was like, oh well, I can't watch it because I don't have HBO Max. Or it was gonna be on HBO Max. I was like, I don't have that. And so it hadn't come out yet, and then a couple of days go by and it had dropped, and I was like, okay, maybe I could watch it, because I got HBO Max because I wanted to watch The Pit, so I had it. I wanted to watch it. I was like, but I want to read the book first, okay? But I didn't want to like order the physical book and wait for it to come in, or like go to a bookstore and try and find it. So I bought the audiobook on Spotify, and I listened to it at like 2.6 times speed, which is insanely fast. Even I usually listen to everything at 2.3 times speed, because if it's any slower I can't pay attention. But I listened to it at 2.6 times speed because I wanted to get it done, and it was like I think it's an 18-hour audiobook or something like that. And I finished it in like 4 hours. It was really fast. Yeah, I listened to the whole thing. Honestly, when I watched the show, I was like, this is nothing like the book. That's because I wasn't paying attention when I was reading it. Or listening to it, I should say. I was like, okay, now I'm ready for the show. Only the first 2 episodes were out. This was like 2 days after the first 2 episodes had dropped. So not a ton of people were talking about it yet, but a decent amount of people. So I started watching it. I watched the first episode, and then I watched the second episode right after. I was like, this is good. Like, this is actually a good show. So I waited until the next week, and when the next week came around, I planned out my day so I could watch the first 2 episodes and then watch episode 3. And I go, this one's not about Shane and Ilya, that's weird. Like, I had heard of Scott and Kip in the He'd Rather book, but I didn't know who they are. I didn't know their story. I was just like, oh, this is some weird like, I knew it was a series, but I was like, this is so weird. Why are they doing that? I saw that episode and I was like, this is kind of dumb. Why are they that? And I literally didn't watch the rest of it. I didn't watch episode 3 until the day episode 4 came out, or I didn't watch episode 3 again until episode 4 came out. I was just watching episodes 1 and 2 back to back. And also, I had never watched the trailer. I didn't watch the trailer until episode 4 came out. I didn't watch the trailer. So I knew, I somehow like missed that there was a trailer or something like that. Eventually I saw the second week. I was watching episode 1 and 2 back to back, and I wasn't watching episode 3. And then eventually episode 4 was about to come out, and so I watched, I also had a countdown on my phone, for when the next episode of the show was gonna come out. I was ready. I was set for this. So when episode 4 came out, I watched, and I knew about Rose, and that was one part that I did remember, was Rose and Shane's relationship. So I was familiar with Rose and Shane's relationship. So I watched episode 3, and then I watched episode 4, and I was, devastated. I was like, oh my god, this is insane. This show is so good. I was hyped. I had one friend that I was telling about every time I watched it. I would finish the episode, and it'd be like, I think for me, the episode was coming out at like 11, I think. And so it would be like almost midnight and I'd be texting them and I'd be like, oh my god, it was so good. It was because they didn't have HBO Max and they weren't watching. I was like, this show is so good. It's so good. I love it so much. And yeah, so I was obsessed with it. And then I was like waiting patiently, and I would be at school, and I had my own laptop. So during school, when I had my study halls, I would just be like looking through news articles. I'd be searching up the actors. I was doing everything I possibly could. All media, like my Instagram became filled with it. My TikTok was filled with it. All of my social medias were filled with it. Like even my like YouTube algorithm was just showing me that, and because I needed to consume so much of it. And then episode 5 came out, and you know that's the hard hitting episode, and the entire time I was like, there's no sex in this episode. There's sex like twice in every episode, and there isn't one in this. And at first I was annoyed, but by the end of the episode I was like, this is great. This is pure cinema. I love this so much, and I was so happy. And I remember after that one, I was telling my friend, I was like, I just feel like a relief. Like I feel happy. I feel elated. It was so good. I felt so good. It was so nice. Well, now it's just the cottage episodes. It's just gotta be happy though. But the part I wanted to see most was the at the end of Heated Rivalry. Currently there is a dinner with Hayden scene, but I was really excited for them to do the announcement. I was really hoping for the announcement and for Shane coming out to Hayden. That's the part I was most excited for. So I refused to like click to see how much time there was left on the final episode because I was just so happy. It was so good, and I was just so joyful, you know, through the entire thing. And I was tense, but I was so happy, and I was so excited. I was like, this is clear joy. This is literally so good. I've never seen a show have this much joy in it before. But it got to the end of the episode and they were driving away, and I was like, and the credits started rolling, and I was like, what? No, I wanted Hayden. Like I wanted my one last Hayden scene, and I didn't. So I was kind of disappointed that they were like, I understand why they didn't now, but I was a little disappointed then, and I was like, I wanted my Hayden scene. But so he did rather consume my life. It was Christmas Day, and I went to bed early, so I could watch every single episode of Heated Rivalry, so I could watch the final episode. I think I ended up getting ready for bed at like, I had to get ready for bed at like 6:30, so I could start watching it at like 8:30, so I could start the final episode in time. I think I was even like 2 minutes early, so I was just like waiting. I was like, oh, when is it gonna come? But yeah, I was so excited. It was like the highlight of my December. It was just, Heated Rivalry's gonna come out. I was so excited. My best friends are straight, so I wasn't telling them about this show, but like I wouldn't tell them to watch the show. I was telling them the essence of the show. I was like, so there's these two queer hockey players, and they don't care when I talk about that stuff, so I was just like, yeah, this is what it is, and they're so good, and they're just like, and they were like happy for me, and I was like so glad. But Heated Rivalry took over my life. I had 3 reaction YouTubers that I was watching a lot. Danny Mata, Alex Myers, and a third one. I don't remember his name, but he like reads books and then watches the show. And so Danny Mata, I think, was the first to do it, and I think he was the first to do it, and he did it in like the end of January. And I was so hyped. Every time you put out a reaction, I was sitting there and I was ready. I was like, yes, I need to watch it. I need his reaction to everything. And he did not disappoint. I loved every moment that man watched it. It was so good. When Alex Myers watched it, I was like, I like his opinions on movies, but I thought his opinions were wrong. And I was like, dude, you're not looking enough into this. You have to look into it more. You're so close. Like you've almost, because he was saying stuff like typical romance, and he didn't get like what all the hype was about. But in my opinion, the hype is the fact that there's so many parallels, and that they're going through this together, and that they both have to go through so much development to get to the point where they are at, and they're going through this thing that is like illegal, and they're dealing with it and they're fighting through it. And he also skipped over the entirety of episode 4 and didn't mention any of that. And I feel like that's a big plot point to the show where they're like, I can't do this anymore. But yeah, so he was the only one where I was like, dude, you're not getting the point of the show. There were a couple other people, I think. I was watching a lot of people react to it, and then some people weren't giving the reactions I wanted. And that was just a preference. So I was just like, I'm just not gonna watch you because you're not giving what I need to hear from you. There was 2 people and they were watching it. And one of them didn't watch the Russian scene. He didn't read it with subtitles. That's like, the entire point of that is the fact that you are reading it with, that you read it with subtitles and you're reading what Shane can't hear. And he didn't get that. And I was like, you're missing out. But it was fine. And then I also had the hockey podcast. Yes, I did watch the hockey podcast as they were putting it out. I don't watch them anymore because I refuse to give them credit for anything. But I did watch them religiously for a while. Every time I was like doing something mind-numbing, like folding laundry, I would put them on and I would watch them. But I don't watch them anymore because I don't want to give them any more views than I had. But they were watching it and I did genuinely like their reactions. I thought they were good. I thought even for straight men, they were giving really good reactions and really good commentary to the show. And they eventually stopped picking it apart from being a hockey show to it just being genuinely obsessed with the romance. So I did like that. But because they were shitty people, I stopped watching them because I was like, no, I cannot support you. But I do think they got what they deserved, and every once in a while I check on their, like, I'm not subscribed to them anymore. I was watching them as they started posting the videos. Every once in a while I look at their account, their YouTube account, and I see that their most popular videos are their 6 heated rivalry videos, interviewing Kip Grady and then interviewing the girl who plays Svetlana. Those are their most watched videos, and I am glad that those are the only ones. And then all the rest of theirs things have like 12,000 views each, and I'm like, well, if you may have been less shitty, maybe you'd have more views. But so I stopped watching them because I was like, I can't deal with this shit. But yeah, and then there was this one guy who only watched the first and last episode of Heated Rivalry. And I was like, dude. And he was like, oh, the last episode's like, I wanted more. And it's like, the more is in all the rest of the episodes. You have to watch all the episodes. And then episode 5 feels so fulfilling because so much has happened in those 5 episodes. But if he had watched the whole thing, he would have loved it, I think. And then I also watched Dana and Phil watch the whole thing. I did subscribe to their film page so I could watch them react to it. Oh, and then the guy who read the book and watched it, he did not do a very good job at reading the book. He didn't like smut, which is to each their own, which is fine. But if you don't read the smut in Heated Rivalry, you kind of lose a lot. So that was disappointing. But he did his best, and he got most of what he was supposed to, and that was good. And he did genuinely like Heated Rivalry. He didn't get episode 4 and the whole name drop thing, but he did get it in the end, so it was fine. And I liked it. So I was really addicted to that for a while. Eventually, sometime in my Heated Rivalry, probably, I think it was in my December era, I started following Hudson Williams and I started following Connor Story, and now I still follow them on Instagram. And I watch all of their, look at all their posts and I watch all their stories. I watched Connor's SNL episode. I became obsessed with watching their entire filmography. I went onto each of their IMDb's and I looked at all of their things and I figured out where to watch them. Most of Hudson's were on YouTube. And so I just made a big YouTube playlist with both of their stuff and I just watched it all. That was really fun. All of it is really good, so I watched all of it. It was so good. Connor's in an episode of Joker, like a French Joker. It's Joker something. He's in that, and I was gonna watch the entire Joker movie just to watch a minute. And then I realized I didn't want to, so I found a thing on YouTube where it has all of Connor Story's clips, from the Joker movie in it, and so I watched that instead. And then I enjoyed that. Oh, and then he's in another one, The Headless Horseman, I think it is. And I was gonna watch that entire movie, and then I realized it's rated like a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, I'm not watching a movie that bad. And I did scroll through the movie to find the clip that he's in, and Connor's Story is doing his fucking best. He was given a shitty script. He did what he could with the lines he was given, and the animation is bad as hell. I did watch like half the beginning half of the movie, and then I skipped to the part where he's in, and I just watched that because I couldn't handle it anymore. I didn't want to watch it anymore because I was like, this is a horrible movie. Why am I watching this? Then I realized I had free will and didn't watch it anymore. Hudson Williams is in an episode of Tracker, and I did watch that entire Tracker episode just to watch the like 4 scenes he's in. I don't understand Tracker, realized I don't want to watch it, but I did watch that entire episode that he was in from beginning to end. Connor's Story is an episode of, it's Tiny Pretty Things. It's a fairly new show. I think it's like 2025. It's on Hulu. I watched that entire episode waiting for him to show up. And he's in a less than 30-second clip of him fucking the main character of the show. And that's it. But I knew it was him when I watched it. So that was good. So I knew it was him, but I was just like, that's it? That's all he gets? It was rude. So I think I am caught up on all of the discographies. There was, Connor's Story has one that's finally coming out to theaters and then might come out onto some stream. Oh, Connor's Story has one called, I don't remember it. I did buy it. It was on Fandango, and I watched the whole thing, and it was very good. He's in a lot of it. I highly think everyone should watch it, because watching that and then watching him play Ilya Rozanov, it feels like 2 different people. It just shows what a good actor he is. And I love it. Honestly, I was like, that whole movie, I was like, this is actually good. This is so good. And I love Connor's Story's character in that. And I wanted to give him a hug the whole time. But he's so skinny. He's so like thin. Like, Ilya's a thick man. But that guy in that movie was very, very little. And I was like, what? There's no way those are the same people. He gained so much muscle mass between that and Ilya. It's a lot. But it's a really good movie if you watch it. It was really good. Connor's Story's SNL thing. I watched it after it had already come out, but it was still like live. I just started at the beginning and I just scrolled through the parts he wasn't in. And then I watched the parts that he was in. And I was thoroughly enjoyed by all of it. I was sat up. I usually like lay back because my TV is across my bed room. So I usually just lay back. But I was sat the entire time. I was upright. Even when Hudson came on, I was like, I need to see him. And I've watched every press tour, every time they did a press conference thing. I've watched every interview they've ever been in. I'm not the most knowledgeable of them. There's probably someone out there more than me. But I did read both of their Wikipedia pages at least once each. Because they keep getting updated, so I have to keep reading them. I have to keep updating myself. But I've watched every time they were interviewed together, separately. Every time they were on some red carpet. When they were at the Golden Globes, I watched that. When Connor's Story did the actor awards, I watched him do that whole thing. The Met Gala, I watched that. I did not watch the Met Gala. I watched them walk down the Met Gala. I was in shock when I saw Hudson's outfit. I was on TikTok and it had shown up and I paused it, put my phone face down and went, and then I played it and watched it because I was in shock, and I have gender envy from that man. Okay, Hudson Williams. I have gender envy from him. It's very strong. But it was very good. I love it so much. Eventually, after I did finish watching Heated Rivalry, I was like, I need to read the series. I need to read the whole series. I have read Heated Rivalry and The Long Game more times than I have read the rest of the books in the series. But I have read all of the books at least twice. I listened to the audiobook of Heated Rivalry. Then I started listening to the audiobook of The Long Game. And then I realized that I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to read the rest of the books and then read that. So I read Heated Rivalry, and then I went back and I started reading The Long Game, and then I went and I started with Game Changers. But I read Game Changers on audiobook, actual audible audiobook. And I also had my Kindle, so I was listening to it while I was reading it, and I was doing both. Gotta say, I don't like Kip's voice actor in that. That was not fun to listen to. I didn't like that, but I did go through it, and I did watch the whole thing, or listen to the whole thing. After I listened and read Game Changers, then I went and I did Heated Rivalry. I had the audiobook and bought the Kindle version of that, and I did that one, and I really liked Ilya's voice actor in that, because my head does not do a very good Russian accent, and it was kind of hard, and so I liked being able to listen to Ilya's Russian accent. I read that one, and that was good, because I knew what I was expecting. At some point, I went to Barnes & Noble, and I was like, I'm gonna try and pick up the physical books, but during most of December and January, Heated Rivalry, Game Changers, and The Long Game were sold out everywhere, so I could not get a hold of them. And I couldn't get a hold of them on like Amazon either, because they were like selling out so fast. But I could get the other 3 books. So I got Tough Guy, and I had Tough Guy. I read the physical version of Tough Guy. Pretty good. I don't remember what stars I gave it, but it was pretty good, right? I was mostly just interested in Ilya, and I am genuinely interested in the entire series. I am mostly invested in Ilya, but I did genuinely like all of the books. There wasn't one where I was like, this is a bad book. They were all pretty good. So yeah. And then I read the 4th book, Common Goal. Also decent. I don't know. This good. There's nothing bad about it. And I had the physical copy of this one, so I read it this way too. Then I had Role Model, and I had the physical version of this one. This one really good, because Ilya's in it a lot. And then I had the Kindle version of The Long Game, and I started it over. I didn't want to start where I had ended before. I started reading that one, and that was good. There's a lot of smut in that one, but I enjoyed every minute it was in my ear. It was very good. I think I finished that one in like a couple of days, because I was like, I need to read this as fast as I possibly can. This is so good. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Recently, I did The Great Rachel Read, spelled R-E-A-D. The Great Rachel Read is reading all 6 books in the series. I did recently get The Long Game in physical, Heated Rivalry in physical, and Game Changer in physical. So I do have my entire 6-book series now. So they are all, in fact, completed, and I'm so happy that I have all of them. Because I needed to finish out, even if I'm not going to read them all for a bit, because I've read them all twice. Oh, after I finished The Long Game the first time, I was making a trip every day after school, and I was like, well, instead of listening to music, I could just listen to my audiobook. So that's what I did. I was listening to smut in my car on the way to my trip every day. It was very fun. But I listened to it, and I was like, wow. I feel like so, like every time I'd finish it, I like just feel a sense of joy. And so I was just like, well, what if I just like read it again? So the next day I started it over and I listened to it again. So I've actually read The Long Game 3 times. I have not read this version of The Long Game. This is a lot of pages. I've read more than this, but this is a lot of pages. 400 pages, that's a lot. But I did listen to it in the car twice. Very fun. Highly recommend just listening to it as you're driving. I just sat there. I would sit there and smiling every day, like, they're making out in the trophy room. So good. Listening to someone while you're like, this is so good. The other cars think I'm crazy. Anyways, The Great Rachel Read. So I'm going to say it out loud. Write it down if you want. But I can thoroughly give my opinion on this now. The Great Rachel Read is all 6 books in chronological order. The fun thing about it is that you're flipping between books. There's a lot of back and forth between Game Changers and Heated Rivalry. And at the end, there's a bunch of flips between Role Model and The Long Game. And so you're going back and forth between that. And it was fun for me to do that. So I had my Kindle with The Long Game on it because I just recently got this version. I had my Kindle with The Long Game and I had my physical copy of Role Model. So I was flipping through that. And that was actually kind of fun to be able to do that and to like read one thing from Ilya's point of view and then read another one from Troy's point of view. Like the same thing happened from each of their point of views. And it was really fun. And Rachel does keep them fairly consistent. There were a couple inconsistencies between the books, but there wasn't enough for us. Like, this is bad. This is not a fun thing to do. It was genuinely entertaining. And I say, if you're not a big rereader, don't do this. If you like rereading, do it. Definitely don't do it as your introduction to the books. Just read the books in order because you will like spoil stuff for yourself and that's not fun. Just read it normally if you're not a big rereader. But I needed more of my fill of Heated Rivalry, so I read it like that. And it was good. Also on Rachel Reed's official website, she has her like extras or things that didn't make it into the books. The Las Vegas remix, deleted scene number 1, January 2014, deleted scene 2, February 2018, deleted scene 3, August 2018, Halloween Ilya, Dinner with Hayden, and Countdown. Or is it? It's like Shannon Ilya's Countdown. It was fun to include those things into the stories, but it is a little annoying because the prologue of Heated Rivalry is kind of like explaining everything before you read it. Like, not really, but it's kind of like, if you've read it, you know, it's basically, it's telling you what's happening in the book, or what's going to happen in the book, and what you will eventually see from both of the characters. And then it starts when they first met. And the prologue happens in the middle of the great Rachel Reed of the Heated Rivalry section. And it's kind of weird to flip to it because it's explaining to you stuff that you already know, and it's slightly annoying. And some of the deleted scenes are like not canon. All of the deleted scenes are not canon. The Countdown, that one's a good one to put. That one's in the middle of the Long Game. You read it while you're reading The Long Game. And that one was really good, and that one's really good to put in there. And Dinner with Hayden, that one's also canon, and that one's really good. It's also at the end of Heated Rivalry, the book. Halloween Ilya is really good. That one is also included, but that one is one of the inconsistent one because that one also happens during Tough Guy, and the day that Halloween happens in Tough Guy and the day that Halloween happens in Halloween Ilya are not the same day, which is fine because obviously it wasn't in the book, so it doesn't matter. That's fine. And then the deleted scenes are a little weird because you're like, oh, it's whatever. But Las Vegas Remix is a good one to eventually read and to see it all from Ilya's point of view. That one's really fun. But basically, you start Heated Rivalry chapters 1 through 9, then deleted scene number 1, January 2014. Then Heated Rivalry chapter 10, then the Las Vegas remix. A lot of the beginning is Heated Rivalry, a lot of the end is The Long Game. Then Heated Rivalry chapter 11, Heated Rivalry prologue, Heated Rivalry chapters 12 through 17. Then you start with Game Changers chapters 1 through 12, Heated Rivalry 18 through 21, Game Changers 13 to 23, Heated Rivalry May. So Heated Rivalry is broken, chapter 22 is broken up into 2 sections. Heated Rivalry May 2017 Ottawa, which is right there. And then Heated Rivalry chapter 22, June 2017, Boston. So it's split up into 2 sections, and that is kind of funky when you're reading it. But you read Heated Rivalry chapter 22, May, and then you read Game Changers chapters 24 through 29, and then you read Heated Rivalry chapter 22, June, so you read the second half of that chapter, and then the Game Changers epilogue. And then Heated Rivalry chapters 23 through 27, then deleted scene 2, February 2018, then deleted scene 3, August 2018, and then you start Tough Guy, chapters 1 through 4. then Halloween Ilya, which is, that part I kind of made, they didn't, okay. So this, I did get off of another person's, Great Rachel Read, and I mostly agree with most of their picks. If you read the whole series, a lot of stuff will stick with you, especially if you read The Long Game multiple times. And reading The Long Game and reading Role Model, you notice what happens in both of the books. So if you want to read both of those back and forth, that's like fine. If you don't want to do the rest of the books, you just want to do those two, that's really good. It's really easy to figure out when those two happen. Because I was reading, when I did recently do this Great Rachel Read, I was reading The Long Game and I was like, I think I should be reading a different chapter in Role Model before I should be reading this. And I probably should have, but I wasn't. I was listening to this thing. So after the Tough Guy, chapters 1 through 4, then you have Halloween Ilya, which is one on Rachel Read's website. And then you read Tough Guy, chapters 5 through 13, which is the one I split up so I could put Halloween Ilya in there. No. So you read Tough Guy, chapters 5 through 13, and then you read Dinner with Hayden, which doesn't make any sense because Dinner with Hayden happens after he did Rivalry, but chronologically it does make sense. And then Tough Guy, chapters 14 through 17. And then you read the Huge Rivalry epilogue. So we finally finished Huge Rivalry right after we're in the middle of Tough Guy, which is the third book. And then Tough Guy, chapters 18 through the epilogue. And then you read the entire Common Goal book. You have to read this entire thing because their entire relationship happens within the span of like 3 months. As you just read the whole thing. And then The Long Game, chapters 1 through 17, which is a great ride. I love that. There's just so much joy and smut in chapters 1 through 17. After The Long Game, chapters 1 through 17, then it's Role Model. We start Role Model, chapters 1 through 3. And then there is, on Rachel Read's website, okay, so she has all of her books, and mostly you click on the title of the book, and it will take you. So if you go to Huge Rivalry one, I have all the deleted scenes, and the Dinner with Hayden, and there's another one. And there used to be a Christmas thing for Scott and Kip, but I can't find it anywhere. I can't buy it. I can't get it. So I didn't read it. So I don't know where that would fit into any of this. But the countdown can literally be read anywhere in the while you're reading Role Model cross with The Long Game. It can be read anywhere in there. I personally would put it after reading The Long Game chapters 1 through 17 and then reading the countdown and then start Role Model 1 through 3. But you can literally put it wherever you want. But after the countdown, or after Role Model 1 through 3, then you read chapter 4, then The Long Game chapter 18, which you can actually read that after you read 17, or you can read it after you read 19 through 20. It's really up to you. That chapter really has no date significant words. But after The Long Game chapter 18, then you read Role Model chapters 5 through 6. Then The Long Game 19 through 20, Role Model 7 through 8. The Long Game 21, Role Model 9 through 12. Then The Long Game 22 through 24, Role Model 13 through 15. The Long Game 25 through 26, Role Model 16 through 22. The Long Game 27 through 28, and then Role Model 23 through 26, and The Long Game 29 to the epilogue, which is like 7 chapters, I think. And that is the Great Rachel Read. And I have, in fact, completed the Great Rachel Read. My opinions are, do it if you want. I don't know. I had fun reading it. It was good. If you don't want to do the Great Rachel Read, you don't have to. Because it's only, if you're as obsessed as I am, read it. Do it if you haven't had enough of them. And you're like, I don't want to just read the whole series again. I don't just want to watch the whole show again. Not that you're bored of it, you just don't want to. Then do it. It's fun. It took me like 2 months to do it. But I had other things I was doing, so it wasn't that hard. So I have been in school for a while. And Heat of Rivalry kind of took up my life December through the rest of my school year, December through May. And so I was obsessed with Heated Rivalry, and I was writing it in the notes of my thing because I couldn't pay attention. So this is every single notebook page from this school year that I wrote some version of Heated Rivalry something on. My first thing, this first page, is relating random things to Heated Rivalry by like linking them together. So a thing, and then it goes to this, and then it goes to this, and then it goes to this, and then eventually gets to Heated Rivalry. Specifically the show. We're not talking about the book here, just the show, because that's what I was mostly obsessed with. So I was in English class, and we were watching the movie Peter Pan. And so Peter Pan's Wendy's granddaughter is Moira. It's named Moira. Okay. Moira Rose is a character on Schitt's Creek. Okay. Schitt's Creek is a Canadian show. Heated Rivalry is a Canadian show. That's how we get from Peter Pan to Heated Rivalry. I could have also gone Peter Pan, Wendy's granddaughter is Moira. Moira Rose is on Schitt's Creek. Francois Arnaud is on Schitt's Creek. And Francois Arnaud plays Scott Hunter on Heated Rivalry. Scott Hunter is a character on Heated Rivalry. So I could have gone there too. Okay, my next one was politics. Prime Minister is a part of politics. Hudson Williams met the Prime Minister, Canada, and Hudson plays Shane on Heated Rivalry. So that's my first page. My next page, I went from boba to boba is in lemonade. Ilya drinks lemonade in the long game. The long game is a book in the Game Changer series. Heated Rivalry is a book in the Game Changer series. Heated Rivalry show is based on the book. That's how we get from boba to Heated Rivalry. Next. The Game Changer series. This was me just taking notes of it because it was on my mind. And that's the title of this page. Game Changer series. Heated Rivalry episodes. Rookies, Olympians, Hunter, Rose, all believe in anything in the cottage. And then all the teams. Ottawa Centaurs, Montreal Voyagers, Boston Bears, New York Admirals, Montreal Metros, and Boston Brewers. So that's between the book and the show. Oh, this one's really fun. So this is my Game Changers ranking. I have an obsession with when I finish a series, I must rank them in various categories, whatever I think works best for the series. So first I just wrote everybody down. Game Changers shortened to GC, which is Scott and Kip, which are SNK or Skip. That's their nickname. Heated Rivalry shortened to HR, who are Shane and Ilya, which is S and L, and their name is Holanov. Then we have Tough Guy, shortened to TG, which are Ryan and Fabian. Their initials are R and F. And I couldn't find a nickname out there, so I gave them the nickname Prala. Price and Salah. Prala. I liked it. It was better than my other option, so that's what I picked. Then we have Common Goal, shortened to CG, which is Eric and Kyle, which are shortened to B and K. And I gave them the nickname Benift. Bennett and Swift. Benift. Liked it. Then we have Role Model. We have R and M, or Troy and Harris, which is T and H. And I gave them the nickname Traris. I like that one. It was better than, I don't even remember what I came up with before that, but I gave them Traris. I like Traris. Then we have The Long Game, which is shortened to TLG. This one, I changed it. Ilya and Shane instead of Shane and Ilya. And this one, so it's shortened to INS. And this one, it's actually Shilya. I switched it. So Heated Rivalry is Holanov. Okay, because they constantly talk to each other by their last names, so they're Holanov. And they talk in The Long Game, they talk about each other in their first names, so it's Shilya. I liked it. Okay, so we have Scott Hunter and Christopher Kip Grady, and they're from New York, or they're New York. Then we have Shane Hollander and Ilya Rosenoff, Montreal, or Shane Hollander is Montreal, and Ilya Rosenoff is Boston and Ottawa. Ryan Price and Fabian Salah. Ryan Price is Toronto and Boston, because those are the teams he's from. We have Eric Bennett and Kyle Swift, and Eric Bennett plays for New York, and Troy Barrett and Harris Drover. And Troy Barrett, is Toronto and Ottawa. Those are his teams. I know Ryan Price has been to other teams, but I just did the ones that are like mentioned a lot in the books, which are Toronto and Boston. Okay, these are my rankings. It was really a hard decision for all of these. So this is just my rankings. You can have other opinions, I promise. Okay, so my character rankings, I'm not going to explain why, but my character rankings are Ilya, Shane, Troy, Kyle, Eric, Kip, Scott, Harris. Ryan, Fabian, they're at the bottom. Again, Ilya, Shane, Troy, Kyle, Eric, Kip, Scott, Harris, Ryan, Fabian. So, yes. Next is hockey. This is who I think is the is the best at hockey. I think Shane, okay, this one I will explain. So I think Shane is the best at hockey. Okay. He talks about in the long game. And Ilya's like, I think you're better at hockey than I am. And Shane's like, no, I think we're equal. He's like, no, you're better than me. So I think Shane's better. Because Shane says he is, and Ilya agrees. So the best at hockey is Shane, followed by Ilya, because I do think he's really good at hockey. And Scott, because he's that old, he's gotta be good, right? And then I think Troy's gotta be up there somewhere. Because he was, I know they keep saying that Dallas was one of the best. So Troy had to be up there too. I think Troy's pretty good, just from what I've read. And then Eric, because he retired being a really good goaltender. He was not as good as the years went on. He did start to slip up during his last year, but he was busy with Kyle, so I'm not gonna give him too much. So Eric is the next one after Troy. And then Ryan, because he's the last hockey player on this list. So he's got to get some credit for being a good hockey player. And yes, I did put the non-hockey players on this list because I got to measure them somehow. So yeah, I do think Ryan is after Eric. He didn't like hockey as much. He actually actively hated it near the end. But yeah, he's still on the list. And then Kyle. Okay, I put Kyle, so he's the first of the non-hockey players. The reason I put Kyle as the highest of the non-hockey players is because it's said that he has like a skier's body. And I figure they always watch hockey on the bar, and I just feel like that he'd be at least good at skating or something, you know? So that's why I put him next. And then I put Kip, because I feel like, I don't think Kip played any sports, but he's got like a body, you know? He's at least like athletic. He could at least try. Then I put Harris. Now Harris could never play because of his heart condition, but I do believe he'd be somewhat good. He follows hockey a lot, you know, he's the social media manager. He does do that stuff. So I do think that he would be at least somewhat good at it. Finally is Fabian. Yes, he was last in my character ranking, and he's last in the hockey. But Fabian never liked hockey. His parents were like hockey people, and I choose to believe that he actively avoided skating of any time. He did not want to be a hockey player. He didn't want anything to do with hockey. Every once in a while, Ryan will come back from camp and be like, oh, this crazy thing happened in hockey. And Fabian's just like, honey, I don't know what that means. Okay, you can say whatever you want. You say hat trick, and he doesn't know what the fuck that means. But I think Fabian would be like the worst at hockey. So he's a singer anyway, so he doesn't need to know. Okay, now my couples rankings. This one's actually very surprising, because this is just purely based on the couple, just the couple. Shane and Ilya, my favorite couple, by far. Most people's. And then Troy and Harris, because I like Troy a lot. Harris, I find entertaining. I would want to be his friend. But I don't like him as much. As you could tell from my character ranking, he is third to last. But I do like Troy a lot. I don't know why I like Troy a lot, but I do like him a lot. Next is Ryan and Fabian. I do really like them as a couple. I think they're so cute. I think they're so sweet to each other. They're adorable. I like them. Eric and Kyle. I found their relationship weird. And a little just weird. Now, I don't care if you put sex first in a relationship. That's fine if their relationship started off as sex. I don't care. I didn't like it though. I don't like them as a couple. But at the bottom is Scott and Kim. Because I don't like books. This is all based on the books, by the way. I don't like Scott very much. I don't know why. I don't like book Scott. I like TV Scott. I don't like book Scott. Book Scott is kind of, I don't know. I just don't like him. I like TV Scott. He's fun. I don't like book Scott. So they're at the bottom. I don't like them as much. Maybe it could also be because it's the first book and I don't typically remember the first book. Okay, next is Sex. That's the title of the next one. This, this is an order of how freaky they were. And when I wrote this ranking the first time, I didn't read The Long Game. It has been updated to what I now choose. But I will tell you what happened. I will at the end tell you what the original ranking was. Because it was not this. It was similar to this, but it was not this. Because I didn't read The Long Game and I didn't know how damn freaky that book is. But I put Shane and Ilya first. I enjoyed their sex. I enjoyed reading it. It was good. And I was happy and smiling the whole time. It made me very happy. Then Eric and Kyle. Theirs was weird, but I did enjoy it. Thoroughly. Also, Kyle and Ilya give off the same, I'm gonna just wait here for a bit kind of vibe towards their partners, which is fine. But I liked it more when Ilya did it than when Kyle did it. When Kyle did it, I found him annoying. He played Angry Birds, like 2 games of Angry Birds before he made it up to the bedroom. Okay, I guess. I mean, Ilya did, what was it that he did? I read it recently. I think he got, like, a drink. Like, filled himself up 2 cups of water. Drank them both, and then went. Fine, okay. So I put them, Eric and Kyle second. Then Ryan and Fabian. I did enjoy theirs. It was good, I guess. I don't know, I didn't really care. Yeah, it was fine. It was mid. It's like, okay, whatever. I didn't like the first smut. I didn't like it. It was not fun for me to read. I did not enjoy that at all. Then Scott and Kip. I didn't enjoy it actually. It's at the bottom of my ranking. I was bored when I read it. I didn't care. They weren't freaky enough for me. I like the freaks, obviously. They weren't freaky enough. You'd think switches would be more freaky, but they're not as freaky as you'd think. Oh, and then Troy and Harris. I didn't like it. I would have been perfectly happy if that book was clean. I actually probably would have enjoyed it more if it was clean. Because I did not enjoy that. I did enjoy the book. I did not enjoy that. Okay. My original ranking was Eric and Kyle over Shane and Ilya. That was before I read The Long Game, because I was like, oh, Heated Rivalry is freaky, but I think Common Goal is freakier. And I was right. But then I read The Long Game, and I go, oh no, they're way freakier than them. That trophy room scene. Very good. That's all I have to say. Okay. Now the book. These are my rankings of the book. Just based on the book in the series. My favorite book was The Long Game, which is most people's favorites. And it's for a good reason. I cannot say anything more than that. It is a great book. I love it. Top tier. One of the best books I've ever read. Not my favorite book. One of the best books I've ever read. Then Role Model, because I did thoroughly enjoy it. I would have preferred it without the smut. Which is weird, because I read a lot of smut. But it was very good. I liked it, and I loved Troy. He was my favorite. I don't care if Harris is the sunshine. He was not my favorite. Troy was. And Ilya. But he doesn't count. He was not our main character. I like Troy a lot. Yeah, he's great. He's so sweet. He's adorable. And then Common Goal, because I did enjoy it. I was just annoyed at the end because they broke up, but they weren't really together, but I was just annoyed. Okay, after Common Goal is Heated Rivalry. Heated Rivalry is a good book. I enjoy it a lot. I did like Role Model and Common Goal more than it though. I like Heated Rivalry. It's just, there's something missing. I don't think it's realistic enough. I was weird to say. I liked Heated Rivalry, but I did like Common Goal and Role Model more. Then we have Game Changers. Game Changers has been at the bottom of most of these lists. Either the character, or the couple, or the something. The book is at the bottom of the list. It is a good book, but the characters aren't very memorable. I don't care about most of everything. I just don't care. And then finally is Tough Guy. Tough Guy would be a great book if it was standalone by itself and it wasn't part of a series. But because I'm comparing it to the rest of the series, Tough Guy does not make it. Tough Guy's a good book. I just don't like it compared to the rest of the series. Anyways, that's my Game Changers ranking. In this page, I was learning about the structure of the sun. And in the margins, I wrote the titles of each of the series. Rookies, Olympians, Hunter, Rose, All Believe in Anything, and The Cottage. Beautiful. This one, I was learning about constellations. And I came up with everyone's ship name, whether they had one or not. So first we have Skip. Obviously, we've already been over this. And I also split them to the couple, like which couple gets which name. So Skip is, so the S from Scott and Kip's whole name, which is kind of unfair, but whatever. And then Holanov, it's split between Holl for Hollander and Anov for Rosanov. And then we have Prala, which is Price and Salah. And so we have the PR for Price and the ALAH for Salah. And then we have Benift for Bennett and Swift. So we have the BEN for Bennett and the IFT for Swift. And then we have Treris, which is TR for Troy, and ARRIS for Harris. And then we have Shilya, which is SH for Shane, and ILYA for Ilya, so he is his whole name. And then I got bored, and I wrote HUDCON. One in print, and one in cursive. So HUD for Hudson, and CON for Connor. Obviously, if you couldn't get that. And I was trying out different versions of their name. So I thought of Skip, but SC for Scott and IP for Kip. So it's kind of more of an even split. And then I wrote Skip, Holanov, Prala, Benift, Treris, and Shilya again. And then I was splitting Shilya to try and figure out who was even. And then I wrote Holanov and tried to figure out if the AN belongs to Hollander or Rosanov, because it could go to either. So, on this one, I was learning about Earth's history. A lot of this I did in Earth Science because I was bored. It's very boring. This one is very fun. So first I wrote all of the books. The Long Game, Role Model, Common Goal, Heated Rivalry, Game Changers, Tough Guy. Oh, I wrote them in order of how much I like them. The Long Game first, then Role Model, then Common Goal, then Heated Rivalry, then Game Changers, then Tough Guy. I think that's how I have my other ranking too. And then I wrote the characters. I wrote the characters, their sexuality, and whether they were top, bottom, or switch. I became really obsessed with the show. So first we have Ilya. And I did all these on, I think this is the same. I think this is the same order as I had my previous character ranking. I could be wrong though. Okay, so first we have Ilya. Ilya's the top, obviously. He only tops. And he's bisexual. Then we have Shane. He's a bottom. He only bottoms. He's gay. And then we have Troy. Troy's not a top. Troy's a switch. I wrote top, but Troy's a switch. I just read that book. Troy's a switch. He prefers to top, but he is a switch. Ilya only tops, but Troy prefers to top. Those are two different things. Okay, so Troy is a switch, and he's gay. Kyle is a switch, and he's gay. Harris, I put bottom, but he's a switch, and he's gay. Eric is a switch, and he's bi. Kip is a switch, and he's bi. No, he's gay. I was reading Eric's. Scott is a switch, and he's gay. Ryan is a top. He only tops, and he's gay. And Fabian is a bottom, and he's gay. Then we have couples, and I ranked them again. Okay, the next one is I ranked them. I ranked the couples and whether their ship name was their first name or their last name. So Shilya is the long game. So Shilya is first, and it's their first names. Traris is the second, and it's their first names. Holanov is third, and it's their last names. Benift is fourth, and it's their last names. Skip is fifth, and it's their first names. And Prahlad is sixth, and it's their last names. And then we have my favorite characters. So this one I labeled special. And it's just all of the characters that I could remember their names. But I got the names they didn't get on this list. But I had Hayden, JJ, Rose, Svetlana, Elena, and Maria. I couldn't remember Maria's name for the longest time. And neither could I couldn't remember Elena's either. And I was very upset about that. But those are all my memorable characters. Characters that I remembered from the show and from the books. This one I was learning about biodiversity. I wrote Rachel Reed. For a while I was into the show Teen Wolf. I never finished the show. I got to the last season. But I was into the show Teen Wolf, and I kept relating it back to Heated Rivalry because it was crazy. Lily is number 81, and in an episode of Bob's Burgers, they ride go-karts. The go-kart is number 81. Shane is number 24. And Styles' lacrosse number from Teen Wolf is number 24. It's hard to get through that show without thinking about that. And another relation track. Okay. So first we start with wildfires. Wildfires occur in New Mexico. So then we have New Mexico. Buddy, Buck and Eddie from 911, go through New Mexico in their trip. Buddy is a ship on 911. On 911, there was a plane malfunction storyline. In The Long Game, there was a plane malfunction. The Long Game is a book in the Game Changer series. Heated Rivalry is a book in the Game Changer series. Heated Rivalry, the show, is based on the book. And that's how we get that relation. Oh, and now we have, this one was about navigation. We have Worm. Worms are animals. Wolves are also animals. There's a show called Teen Wolf. Styles plays lacrosse in Teen Wolf. Styles' number is in lacrosse is 24. 24, Shane Hollander's number in Heated Rivalry. That one took me a bit, but I figured it out. These are all of the HUDCon moments that are forever in my brain, and I quote all the time to myself or other people. Okay, first one is tongue-in-cheek. I don't remember which one that's from, but I'm pretty sure Connor says it. Next we have, mine's on my shin, under my Durango. Mine is on my upper thigh. I would show you, but I have been informed that that would be indecent. That was obviously Connor and Hudson together, so. But I really like that line. I quote that one all the time. Then we have 5 matching tattoos. We do not have 5 matching tattoos. We do have 1. That was another really fun one. Then we have sex sells. That one's good. Then we have hashtag Stop Asian Hate. Iconic. I watched that video so much. And then we have, what are you talking about, baby? That one's my counter story. I really like that one. This one, I was making relations, not train relations, but we have Sunshine, which is Scott and Kip. And then we have Moonlight, which is Shane and Ilya. And then we have Light. Shane is alone in the light, and Ilya is alone in the light. And then in the dark, they're together as Shilya. And we have walking with someone in the dark. It's better than walking alone in the light. And we have Shane Hollander, which is Hudson Mildred Williams. Then we have Ilya Grigorovich Rozanov, which is played by Connor Story. Then we have Kip Grady, which is Robbie GK. Then we have Scott Hunter, which is played by Francois Arnaud. And then we have Rose Landry, JJ, Cliff Marlowe, and Hayden Pike. This is a lot. I love this part. This is my last section. This is every single Heated Rivalry phrase or quote from the show that I am just quoting constantly. It's basically the script of an episode. It's a page and a half, and it's literally just I was just rambling whatever I remember from the show. I think it's fairly accurate. There might be some inconsistencies, because I have a very forgetful brain, but I did remember a lot of this. Okay, you will murder me. Maybe. Why did you think it was okay to sex me before the game? What the fuck were you? What the fuck? You were hard, weren't you? How long? Whole game? You're such a fucking asshole. Oh, you missed me, didn't you? I still beat your ass. Oh, barely. When did your English get so good? I read New Yorker now. Really? No. New Yorker is boring. My dad loves it. So being boring is genetic. Wow, genetic. If you win MVP tonight, I will blow you, fuck you, whatever you want. And if you win, I need you. Good luck tonight. See you next season. Having fun tonight? Shane Hollander. Will you disappoint them? No. Yeah. Tip. Yeah. Blue. She would have loved you like I love you. Shane. Oh yeah. That's when they're having sex. And they say their name for the first time. That's why that's important. What are you doing? I think you know. Please stop. I do not think that is what you want. Later. Okay? Okay. Let's make a deal. I won't touch you, but if you get hard, I won't get hard. Okay, so no problem then. Ilya, Shane. I like you. I like you too. I can carry my own bag. How are your ribs? Fine, I can carry my own bag. How did your mother die? By accident. She accidentally swallowed a whole bottle of pills. She was so funny and beautiful. She was so sad. My father was so hard on her. How old were you? 12. I found her. Do you want to go inside now? Do you want to go inside? No. Ilya, are you okay? Concussion and a fractured collarbone, out for the playoffs, but could have been worse. We all gotta get our bell rung eventually. Hey. Shh. Yes, better. I was excited about last night. I'm mostly mad at Marlo for fucking that up. I was gonna ask you, will you come to my cottage this summer? Don't go to Russia. Come to my house. We'll have so much fun. It's so private, no one will know. Hollander, we can't do that. We'd be completely alone together. Maybe. I think I'm gay. Oh, really? What makes you think that? Fuck you, you're not gay. No, not completely. Well, I think I am, completely. Okay, so you're gay, so what? Well, it's kind of a big deal. Sorry if I'm being boring. Hollander, you are so boring. Give me your phone. You have phone. Give. What's my name gonna be? Jane. 1221. Not here. Hey, so can we just forget about that in there? That is what you want? Yeah, of course. Wow, you are a really bad liar. What is your room number? 1410. Say I come to room 1410 at 9 o'clock. I might open. I might knock. So, yeah. That's all of the Hall Enough I remember. Well, okay, that's all of the Hall Enough that I remember that I wanted to write down. Those are all the parts that are constant. Well, I mean, the whole show is always playing through my head, but those are the parts that keep me up at night. So, Okay, the final section I have for today is all of my heated rivalry memorabilia. So anything I have that relates to heated rivalry whatsoever. So first, obviously, I have all of the books. Game Changer, Heated Rivalry, Tough Guy, Common Goal, Role Model, and The Long Game. I love them so much. I did recently get Game Changer, Heated Rivalry, and The Long Game. But I've had these three for forever. They're a little bit damaged because I read them a bit, but that's my first thing. My next thing is this Heated Rivalry sweatshirt that a friend made me. It says, my favorite rival in the corner. I also had a friend make me this koozie with Hollander 24 on it. It's got the Montreal logo. Cute. And then I have Ilya Rozanev's little jersey. That's everything, so it's not a lot. I have nothing that's signed. But the funny thing is, is so this, I got Tough Guy before I got like the Game Changers book. So I have 3 books that I just got and 3 books that I did. This is Rachel Reed's picture. And this is her new one. I like them both. But I feel like this one has more character, does it not? I like them both. And this one says she's a USA Today best-selling author. And this one says she's a New York Times best-selling author. So the new ones say that she's New York Times. And the old ones say she's USA Today. I mean, she's both, but like this one also says the books that started all. This one is the one that started the Heated Rivalry and then everything. I used to watch Heated Rivalry not that often. After the show was done, I watched it like once more. And then I kind of just stopped watching it for a bit. And now I watch it just in the background. Kind of obsessive, if you ask me. That is all of my wonderful Heated Rivalry memorabilia. I don't have anything signed. Maybe one day. But currently, there's nothing that's signed. I do follow Hudson and Connor on Instagram. Because I need to keep up. And Rachel. And Jacob. I follow all 4 of them on my social media. Or on Instagram. Because I need to watch them. Or because I need to keep in touch with everything that they are doing. My Twitter is still full of them. My Tumblr is filled with them. Pinterest. YouTube, little less so now, but it's still there. My TikTok is still filled with it. My Instagram is obviously still filled with it. It's all just, it's just a big thing, you know, in my life. So that's my Heated Rivalry. It's probably, my obsession is probably a little bit less than everybody else's. Like, I didn't go and get a jersey. Every time there's an interview of one of even the guy who plays Sasha, he'll do an interview and I will watch it because I like seeing any of my people on screen. I just need one of them. I need any of them, but I do keep up with everyone because I need to know. And I follow the Heated Rivalry page on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram to keep up with them. And I have one TikToker who does Holonov edits and reacts to them. And I love it so much. And so I follow her and I check for her updates every day to see what Holonov she's given me. And if she hasn't, I go, I need more Holonov. But I hope you enjoyed. This has been my Heated Rivalry Psychosis. Hopefully I have gotten it all out of my system. The reason I started reading it again because I couldn't get it out of my system. So, but hopefully I have. And I can finally read something new. I have a lot of books. Here are my books. 2 shelves. And those are my Legos. Hopefully I can finally get some reading of a new book done. Because I need something to distract me from this. Probably I still need to stay on the smut side, otherwise it's gonna be a withdrawal. But at least I have all of the books, so if I ever do feel the need, I can read them again. So it's not that big of a deal. But hope you enjoyed my Heated Rivalry Psychosis. This has been my Heated Rivalry Psychosis. Hopefully yours was not as bad as mine. I mean, mine wasn't the worst, but still pretty bad. So I hope you enjoyed. That's all for now.